wasn't that bad.
Oh no? Childish.
Acting was fine, the music was lovely. What about you, Bruce?
Sorry, Mom, I agree with that. It was kind of lame.
Kinda lame. There's no such word as kinda. It was totally lame.
Yeah.
You too, so judgmental.
Listen, folks. Stay calm, Bruce. Give me your money. No problem. We're cooperating. The necklace. It's okay. Easy.
Mom! Mom! Dad! Dad!
Hi again everyone, Scott Pyre Popkit cult fan here, and for this video is time again to do a retrospective of one of my personal favorite shows from the past decade, because you know, I've talked about Gotham a little bit before in the past, and you know, this show, it's 10 years old now. It's 10 years old this year. Granted, I mean, the original first season aired in like September of 2014, so that was about 10 years ago. And I think it's a great time now to talk about it. You know, Gotham, you know, it was a show that was a little bit experimental. You know, they did something different with the IP, being a prequel show, and it's sort of a coming-of-age origin story for Bruce Wayne, similar to Smallville. And you know, I think with what they were able to do with the show, they did a pretty dang good job. You know, with the exception, you know, the show's not perfect. You know, there are quite a few problems that I have with the first couple seasons. Although, like, the last two seasons 4 and 5, were a lot better in regards to quality and writing to me, especially with certain characters. And I want to go ahead and, you know, talk about this show in as much as I can. I'm not sure how long this video is going to be, but we'll see. Yeah, so like the first season, you know, season 1 of Gotham, you know, it focused a lot more on the whole police procedural aspect of like television, you know, being like a crime drama, and like focusing on like the underworld of the city of Gotham, basically, you know, focusing on characters like Carmine Falcone, Sal Maroni, and that whole mob side of things within the world of Gotham. And while I didn't mind that in the first season, it just wasn't the kind of thing that got me invested fully as the season went on. But it was still fun. It was still entertaining. You know, there were characters that I enjoyed throughout the first season. And then when they finally introduced Cameron Monaghan as Jerome, I just instantly fell so invested with that character. I was happy that they brought him back in every season afterwards, and just seeing also the journey that Robin Lord Taylor's Penguin went on as the show progressed. You know, he is the most fleshed out villain on this show, from the first pilot episode all the way to the series finale. He is the most fleshed out character, and to me, he is my favorite version of Penguin that I have seen in live action. I know some people will probably say Danny DeVito from Batman Returns, but for me personally, it's Robin Lord Taylor as the Penguin. And also, some of my favorite portrayals of these characters are on this show. Sean Pertwee as Alfred Pennyworth, I love him. David Mazouz, I loved him as Bruce Wayne, and his journey from just that 12-year-old boy in the pilot episode all the way to the series finale, and becoming Batman at the very end. It was a great journey, and he is probably the most fleshed out version of Bruce Wayne that we've had in live action, even compared to, say, Christian Bale in the Dark Knight trilogy. While I love his Bruce Wayne as well, I love David Mazouz's Bruce Wayne just as much. And also, so many villains were introduced in this show that I knew about, but never really fully got to see them before in live action, like Scarecrow, for instance, and also Mr. Freeze and countless others, Clayface, sort of, like, there was this one character that was like the bare essence of what the Clayface character is, in season 2, like his name was Basil or something, but I also loved the actor that played Victor Zsasz, Anthony Carrigan. There's so many characters on this show that I could list, and this video could go on for quite a while if I did that. But yeah, and then so season 1, I enjoyed it, but it wasn't fully well realized, because they extended the season for like 6 more episodes or something, and then once you got to that point in season 1, it just felt like it was just kept adding on things that didn't need to be added on, but for the sake of one character like Barbara Keene, they took her character into a different direction in those 6 episodes that were added. And there was this whole thing with the ogre character, and it was not really all that interesting. And then the Barbara's turn to becoming like essentially another villainous character at the end of the season and well into season 2 and beyond. It just felt, I guess, rushed in a way. Didn't feel quite well realized, I guess. And going into season 2, they did a much better job with the Barbara character in season 2, and a lot of her energy felt a lot like Harley Quinn in season 2. So, and also you have the whole story with Theo Gallivan in season 2, as well as everything going on with Arkham Asylum with Hugo Strange, which I love Hugo Strange, by the way. After seeing B.D. Wong's version of the character, I thought he was a great villain, and I really liked the latter half of season 2. I thought the latter half of season 2 was better than the first half of the season, and overall it was just a much better season, and tonally, compared to the first season, because it just brought back this element of humor that was a lot better and more comic booky compared to the first season. And I loved season 2, especially with the character of Jerome in the first 3 episodes. I love Cameron Monaghan. And then season 3, it's probably one of my least favorite seasons, because they extend the whole story with the Mad Hatter character a little too much. And it gets to a point with the character of Lee Tompkins where something happens, and you just don't like. She just has I have a hard time following her character after a certain point in season 3, and as a result of that, I just didn't really, get I just didn't like following her character after a certain point in season 3. And then also there's the whole thing with the Court of Owls, which I thought they were a great addition to this ongoing Batman franchise that I've never got a chance to really get a sense of before, because I don't read the comics, so I didn't know the Court of Owls very much. And seeing them in season 3 of Gotham, I thought they were pretty cool. It was an interesting story there, and seeing how that unfolded with the history of the city of Gotham, which was really interesting. And yeah, so season 3, probably one of my weaker seasons for me. And then, going into the 4th season, I really liked certain characters like Sophia Falcone, as well as Professor Pig. I thought Professor Pig was a really interesting villain and brought back a certain element of the show from like the first season that I much appreciated, and seeing a more fully fleshed out comic book version of the Scarecrow character. That was awesome. I loved that. And the costume design of the show was also just really well done. I loved the costume design of characters like Scarecrow, Mr. Freeze, Professor Pig. There was a certain element of the beginning of season 4 that just really made it feel more Halloween horror inspired, which I loved. I thought that was great. And then what they did with Jerome in season 4 and his twin brother Jeremiah, I thought that was really well done. It was some really good writing in season 4. Definitely one of the better seasons in terms of the writing, and it was something that I just absolutely loved, because Cameron Monaghan, he's such an amazing actor, and he really excelled in the role as Jerome and Jeremiah, which going into season 5, the last season, and in season 4, you really got to see Bruce start to tackle and find his path. He found his path. He started to wear like this proto Batman kind of suit in season 4, but he didn't wear that cowl the entire he only wore it for like one episode in season 4, and then that was it. And then into season 5, he's starting to do some hero work. It was just really fun seeing like a proto version of Batman essentially on the show, sort of like the last 2 seasons of Smallville, when Clark started to wear a black suit with the S, and then the red jacket in the season 10 of Smallville. So it was sort of like that with the Bruce on Gotham, which was really nice. And season 5 introducing its own take of Bane, which I know I would have liked this isn't like a more grounded take on the franchise. So the version of Bane that they sort of did here on the show, I thought it worked. I thought it was decent, and I liked how they handled this sort of similar kind of arc with the Bane character, sort of breaking someone's bones, breaking someone's back, not Bruce's. But it was interesting seeing that sort of parallel from the comic book with the Bane character, which was really cool. And also that one episode with Jeremiah, Jeremiah, there's this whole thing that happens in season 5 with what he's doing and his goals, and it's really fascinating. That really just lends to this final season that just pays off so many things from past seasons. It's the payoff. Season 5 did a really good job just concluding the story, concluding the character of Robin Lord Taylor's Penguin, and also the Riddler. That's another character that I haven't quite talked about yet, but I also really loved this version of Riddler played by Corey Michael Smith. I loved him from the first season all the way to season 5. I thought he was great as the Riddler, even though there were aspects of the story with the Riddler throughout these seasons that didn't all quite work for me, because it just kept repeating similar kind of stories for the character. That just got a little bit repetitive with him. But overall, the final few moments with his character in the series finale with the Penguin was funny, and I loved this arc for both characters, Penguin and Riddler. It was just an amazing and fun journey with those characters, and they really are like just like the heart as well as the humor of the show from beginning to end. And yeah, this is a show that I love. You know, like I said, though it has its issues, you know, it's not perfect, but Gotham, while it took some liberties with certain characters and changing some aspects of the mythos, it was influential. You know, Gotham actually did influence some things in other forms of media. Like there were Telltale Batman games that were made in which the Riddler was a villain before Bruce ever became Batman. That was interesting, in a Telltale Batman game that was made. So Gotham was influential, even though not everyone, you know, liked the show. There are certain aspects of it that made its way into the mythos in other forms of media, and I think that's really cool. And I don't know if the show will ever get like a sort of like a TV reboot film. That would be really cool if that ever happened, but that's just wishful thinking on my part. And another thing about this show that was a really cool experience for me is that when this show was airing, like I think it was like season 4, season 5, when it was still airing, some actors of the show would sometimes go on Facebook and like do live fan Q&As with fans. And you know, I had a Facebook account back then, and that was a really interesting experience because you know, I actually took part in some of those live Q&As on Facebook, and I actually got some of the actors to answer some of my questions, which was really cool. It's probably one of the few times I actually had a little bit of you know, communication with actual actors in fan Q&As on Facebook that were like live streams or something. It was a really cool experience, and that's another reason why this show holds a special place in my heart, because of that. Because I actually took part in like live fan Q&As with some of the actors from the show, and some of them actually answered some of my questions, which was really cool. I think I also got like 1 or 2 shout outs from a couple actors, which was just a really cool experience. And because of that, and also just the journey that this show went on with so many characters, so many. It's an ensemble cast. I love pretty much all the cast in the show, and just overall, I love James Gordon as well. You know, I thought the actor that they chose, Ben McKenzie, playing Jim Gordon, you know, I thought he did an amazing job as the character. Maybe not in the first season, because like I said, there's a certain aspect of some of the actors with their portrayals in that first season where you like the characters, but you don't fully get to really know them, and they don't get fully fleshed out properly in that first season. But as the show goes on, you grow attached to these characters, you grow attached to the actors, and I think Ben McKenzie excelled in the role, especially in later seasons, and I loved him. You know, there are certain aspects of his character that kind of reminded me of Jensen Ackles as Dean Winchester, but yeah, this is just a great show that I love. It's one of my favorites, and yeah, this is my retrospective of Gotham, and just how much this show still holds up to me, even especially to now, 2024. With another thing that I liked about this show is that even though it's a fictional city, it was filmed in New York, right? The show was filmed in New York, and there were certain like set locations in this show that actually were reused on the Daredevil show on Netflix, because I noticed that, like, as a fan of the Daredevil Netflix show and Gotham, there were certain set locations that were actually reused from Gotham on Daredevil. So that was interesting, because both shows were filmed in New York. The Daredevil show was filmed in New York as well. So I think that's really fascinating. And once again, it just hammers home how much I really want to go to New York at some point. I really do want to go to New York City, see Manhattan, the Big Apple. I just want to go there at some point. I really do. And hopefully within the next year or two, I'll get to go to New York finally, and just like go on like one or two like tours of the city to see like filming locations of popular shows and movies, like Gotham, for example. So yeah, this has been quite the experience with the Gotham TV show, and there's no, what else is there to say about it? You know, it's a show that not everyone liked, but I loved it, and that's my retrospective and all of my thoughts for this show. And yeah, that should do it for this video. Bit of a long one, but I don't mind. So that should do it for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.
Tomorrow? Tomorrow. Yet in the darkness, there will be light. That's what he promised Master Bruce all those years ago in the attic. He saved him. Gave him hope. Holy Mother. Who is he?